Hey guys, it's Eric here and this is my Vivo V21 unboxing and review. Vivo used a lot of glitter on this box. We can only hope that it is in fact gold. When you open the box, you're greeted with the smartphone. Let's take out the sticker on the back. This is the Dusk blue color. It also comes in Sunset Dazzle and Active White in select regions. Sealed tightly away, we have the SIM ejection tool, a warranty card, a hefty 33 watt fast charger, a USB Type-C cable, a pair of earphones, and a USB Type-C to headphone jack adapter for plugging your earphones because there's no 3.5mm headphone jack. There's a screen protector already applied. Now in the official retail box you will get a transparent TPU case, something to note. On the front you have a 6.44-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display with 90Hz refresh rate. On the top it has a water drop notch that houses a 44MP camera with dual flash. On the back you have a 64MP triple camera setup with flash and some Vivo branding. On the left you have nothing. On the right you have your volume rocker and a textured power button. On the top you have a microphone. On the bottom you have a speaker, a USB Type-C port, a microphone and a hybrid SIM tray that holds two 4G LTE nano SIMs or one SIM and one SD card. The design of the Vivo V21 immediately reminds me of the V20 that I reviewed. Super sleek, premium feel all around, but the V21 is actually slimmer than the V20. Vivo is calling this back the most advanced AG matte glass that is scratch resistant, but for me it is this subtle matte color that really catches my eye. I think this is probably the best color to get. The shape of the plastic frame is a little iPhone 12-ish. It is a lightweight as can be expected. I mean, they shaved off so much that the headphone jack can't even fit in the frame. That sort of explains it all. On the front you get that same old school notch that the V20 has, but the bezels and chain have lost a bit of weight. Same screen size on a smaller frame, makes sense. Sunlight legibility is great, unlike Transsion. It's much more convenient for one-hand use and I didn't have any issues typing with just one thumb. Colors look super vibrant and punchy, which is a characteristic of AMOLED displays. The Vivo V21 comes with 128 gigs of storage and 8 gigs of RAM. You get 100 gigs of available storage. Here's where things get interesting. You know how you can extend your RAM using the available storage space on your PC? Well, you have 3 gigs of extended RAM in addition to the 8 gigs of RAM. Yep, that's a whopping 11 gigs of RAM for you to play around with. You just have to not use up all of that storage space. I think other brands need to borrow this tech ASAP. We are running on Android 11 with FunTouch version 11.1 slapped on top of it. By now we all know how close to stock Android that is. Very little bloatware and a clean interface free of ads. The fun part of this FunTouch OS is in those dynamic effects, and here it comes packed with a ton of new animation settings, even one for entering your home screen. It has all the little things to change how aesthetically pleasing your experience is, and even a few functional ones like the ambient light effect, which is a really cool notification LED substitute. In the display settings, aside the usual dark theme and screen colors, we have an option to switch between 60Hz and 90Hz refresh rate for a smoother user experience. And then there is an option to automatically switch when it's necessary because it's not every time that you're gaming or scrolling through apps and menus. You get a fully packed quick settings with everything you could possibly want to do quickly plus change. Feels like Vivo just put everything on here, even a calculator. Navigation is optional. Unlike stock Android, you're not tied to any specific position. The Vivo V21 uses the Mediatek Dimensity 800U CPU clocked at 2.4 GHz. I have been dying to get my hands on the Dimensity chipsets just to know what it feels like. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think it is hyped enough. This chipset blows the Snapdragon 720 out the water. To put things in perspective, let's consult nanoreview.net. The Dimensity chip is sitting pretty high up as far as mid-rangers are concerned. Then we have the Snapdragon 732G and then 720G and then the Helio G95. These processors can all handle everyday tasks pretty well, but when you start with the heavy stuff like video rendering or extreme multitasking, the Dimensity 800U on the Vivo V21 pulls ahead of the rest. Versus.com gives mixed-matched results with Snapdragon chipsets, but again, Dimensity 800U is still the boss. The fingerprint sensor is situated underneath the display, Under display fingerprint sensors aren't the fastest and you cannot lock and unlock in quick succession, but it is fast enough for real life usage. Something that Valor Reviews does to increase the speed of unlocking is to reduce the animation in developer settings, but I actually love the animation very much, thank you. The face unlock is fast and unlocks in every type of lighting, even in pitch darkness and with just your side view. That's pretty aggressive and may not be worth the security risk. Here's how the speaker compares side by side the Google Pixel 5s. When it comes to gaming, as usual I played PUBG on HD graphics and high frame rates, the highest PUBG setting for this phone. It ran pretty smoothly as can be expected. The most remarkable thing about gaming on this phone is probably how cool it runs throughout. It is very reassuring when devices run cool while gaming, even though this is not a gaming phone. Vivo V21 is powered by a 4000 mAh battery, which is below average for 2021, but in terms of battery life, I put it through my usual battery tests: about 4 hours of PUBG, 2 hours on Instagram, 2 hours on Twitter and Facebook, etc., all on Wi-Fi. This gave me 12 hours of screen on time with 10% left to spare. It was still connected to Wi-Fi but asleep for 13 hours before dropping from 10 to 2%, which is actually great standby time considering. I did all of my tests exclusively on 90Hz refresh rate and it definitely will give the average user well over a day's worth of battery life. The takeaway here really is battery calibration over everything. It took me 25 minutes to charge from 0 to 60% and 1 hour and 2 minutes for a full charge. This is definitely respectable fast charging speed in 2021 and I used the charger that came in the box. The Vivo V21's camera is pretty feature rich, but the many options placements definitely need to be simplified. You will also need to toggle 44 megapixel mode on the front and 64 megapixel mode on the back every time using the high resolution option. I use the highest settings throughout. Let's see some photos. Outdoors, this selfie camera is doing damn too much. It is very clear with great skin tones and well balanced exposure levels. Honestly, the fact that I can see the details in my iris alone, that's gold for me. If you don't want your skin to have so much texture, you should probably just use the default mode. Using portrait mode, the depth sensing is great, but it is showing a completely different color profile that is less color accurate. With primary camera, okay, this is way too detailed, way too sharp, definitely no longer mid-range territory. I get similar results when I use flagship camera so close to my face. I can almost see microorganisms. Damn. Depth sensing here is not so accurate, cropped my right ear off, and that is a constant problem area. We get decent high dynamic range and using the ultra wide lens doesn't cause too much of a dip in quality, certainly retains the same color profile. Using this camera, you can tell that it's not in the same league as any of the phones I've reviewed recently, and I'll be doing a full comparison video. Just let me know what device you'd like me to compare it with in the comments. Also, if you made it this far, a sub to the channel would be appreciated. Let's go inside. In poor lighting, the cameras are still able to capture details. It's more color accurate on the primary camera and the selfie camera is definitely doing what selfie cameras are meant to do by brightening your face. Using portrait mode, their sense of depth is great but neither one is color accurate. The selfie camera is preferable but there's this glow about it like a beauty filter has been applied, while the primary camera is way too saturated. Night mode on the V21 is actually pretty average for a mid-range phone and I see some loss in detail compared to the default camera shot. The dual front-facing flash does a fairly decent job. It records videos in 4K from the front and back cameras with optical image stabilization on both. So guys, this is the front-facing camera of the Vivo V21 shooting in 4K and here's what the audio sounds like. Now I'm going to switch on over to the 1080p mode which has the ultra stable setting. Now this mode is called steady face and only shoots in 1080p, but let's see how well it does when you move around really quickly. So I'm just going to run real quick. So we have two different types of dual view mode, one where the screen is split in half and the other where that looks like a phone call where there's a tiny picture-in-picture on the top right. And Vivo V21 may look like the V20 on the outside, but on the inside it's a different ball game. Vivo has upgraded its display, chipset and camera to compete favorably with some of the finest mid-range devices on the market. It strikes a balance between power, efficiency and beauty, not to mention how they achieved 11 gigs of RAM. That in itself is so next level, and I think it's safe to call the V21 the mid-range killer. Vivo V20 might have been playing in a league where GCAM is needed to take things up a notch, but the V21 already shattered that table to the extent where you definitely will not miss GCAM. I will recommend this phone to people who are heavy users, and actually I'll be switching to the V21 as my daily driver because why not? The Vivo V21 is priced at 159,000 Naira, which converts to $330 US. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it. Also follow me on Twitter and Instagram to see what I'm up to. Do subscribe for more videos like this as it will mean a lot to me, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.